Hi, welcome to TSAT. In today's session, we're going to discuss another very important topic of medieval Indian history, mainly focusing on Kakatiyas and Vijayanagara dynasty. The emphasis as part of your syllabus is mainly on the contributions of Kakatiyas and contributions of Vijayanagara in literature and in architecture. We'll try to understand literature, architecture and cultural contributions. Also, since this exam also needs you to write these, so it is very important for you to also understand who Kakatiyas were, who Vijayanagara kings were, who were their founders, etc. Let us see the first question for the day. As usual, we'll go this through the MCQ approach. Who was the founder of the Kakatiya dynasty? 𝗵𝗏 I, 𝗓𝗏 I, 𝗵𝗏 II, and 𝗓𝗏. The answer is, it was 𝗵𝗏 I. See, Kakatiyas were basically successors of Chalukyas in the 11th century. Now, around that period, the Chalukyan kingdom, Chalukyan dynasty was on a decline. And their kingdom, see, Chalukyas also had a little split. One group of Chalukyas had split into the Andhra section and they sort of broke down into smaller parts. The Chalukyan kingdom had reached almost till Bay of Bengal by the end of the 10th, 11th century, stretching almost until Godavari and Krishna. And at the peak, their empire had Odisha, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh and Karnataka. In fact, post-Chalukyas, the Kakatiyas, 𝗂𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗃 was, you can say, the greatest empire of the Kakatiya group. Rudramamba, 𝗂𝗵𝗵𝗃's daughter, succeeded him. And eventually, Kakatiya dynasty continued to rule for a long period. They went up there, largely their capital was Warangal. They even had a lot of foreign relations as well, since Kakatiyas had coastal access, particularly the Bay of Bengal. Kakatiyas also served as rulers under the Rashtrakutas. Remember, Rashtrakutas are successors of Chalukyas. Badami Chalukya successors were Rashtrakutas. And Kakatiyas worked under Rashtrakutas. And we believe after Rashtrakuta, we also see that Kakatiyas worked under another group or successor of Rashtrakutas called Kalyani Chalukyas. Around 1158, Kakati Rudradeva or Prataparudra I, 𝗓𝗏 II's son and the Kakatiya ruler, proclaimed independence and established a complete sovereign Kakatiya empire or dynasty. His brother Mahadeva ruled later and went on to continue the rule. Mahadeva died in a battle with the Yadavas of Devagiri. Remember, Kakatiyas had contemporary Yadavas in Devagiri, Pandyas in the south, and Hoysalas in the west, which is on the borders of Arabian coast. 𝗂𝗵𝗵𝗃 was a Kakatiya king who was set free by Yadavas, and he eventually reascended after the Kakatiyas were defeated by Yadavas. They were captured. 𝗂𝗵𝗵𝗃 was freed. He re-established the kingdom in 1199 and until 1262 he ruled, after which we see the most famous Rudramadevi, who succeeded 𝗂𝗵𝗵𝗃. So Rudramadevi was the daughter of 𝗂𝗵𝗵𝗃, and she died in a battlefield in 1289 AD. Now, Next question. Consider the following taxes in Kakatiya period. Illari, house tax. Mudhara, tax on salt bags. Mudrasunkamu, tax on sheep. Dogaracha tax on vegetables. And Madhyakam, tax imposed during emergency. Select the correct answers from the options given below. B, C and E. A, D and E. A, B and E. A, B, C, D, E. The answer here will be A, B and E. RE, land tax. Illari, house tax, which is right. Pullari was tax on grasslands. Ganachari, tax collected from beggars and prostitutes. Mudhara were tax on salt bags, so these both are correct. Kilaram, tax on sheep. Alamu, tax on vegetables. Mudra Sunkamu, tax on oil mills. Gande Sunkamu, tax on wells. The word Sunkamu means toll or tax. That's the root word. Madiga Sunkamu is tax on shops. Bandelayamu, tax on cow sheds. Drogaracha, money for the expense of prince. In the options, it was given as tax on vegetables. This is expense of prince. Annu Pannu, tax imposed on harvesting of crops. Pannu is also another word used for taxation, like Sunkam. Padevala tax, tax on salaries of military chiefs. So naturally, you can observe Kakatiya system seems to have had a lot of taxes to begin with. They seems to have had a lot of taxes, variety of taxes, different types of taxes during their rule. 𝗏𝗏 I, first independent ruler was Rudradeva. Remember, they existed as feudal lords under Chalukyas and Kalyani Chalukyas, Rashtrakutas and Kalyani Chalukyas. First independent ruler will be Rudradeva, but founder of the kingdom will be 𝗏𝗏 I. Capital Orugallu, modern day Warangal. Official language of Kakatiyas was Sanskrit. Their religion was largely Shaivism. Initially, they were following Jainism. Their official emblem was Varaham, which is wild boar, a type of pig. We believe Kakatiyas were Shudras by Varna and they belong to Durjaya Vamsham, or according to one of their inscriptions called Bayaram tank inscription, they say that they belong to Durjaya background or Vamsham. Ganapati Deva was the greatest ruler. Rani Rudrama Devi was obviously the most recorded because Marco Polo, traveler from Europe, he actually gave a very good record of Rani Rudrama Devi's rule. The last ruler is Prataparudra Deva II. Okay. Next question. Prolaraju I, 𝗏𝗏 II, Rudradeva. Inscriptions: Shivapuram, 1000 pillar inscription, Kesasamudram inscription, and Sundela Grama inscription. You need to match the following. There are many questions which come like these in prelims, particularly on fact based. The correct answer is 1C, 2A and 3B. 1. Kesasamudram inscription. 2. 𝗏𝗏 II, Shivapuram inscription. Rudradeva, 1000 pillar inscription. These were inscriptions given during Kakatiya period. Prolaraju I dug a number of tanks. He gave the famous Kesasamudram or Kesari tank in Hanmakonda and Jagat Kesari Samudram. And according to Prolaraju, who accompanied Kalyani Chalukya ruler Vikramaditya VI in invasion, earned the title Samadhigata Panchamaha. Prolaraju gained this title, Samadhigata Panchamaha. His victories are accounted in the inscriptions of 𝗂𝗽𝗍, Pillalamari inscription and Palampeta inscription. These inscriptions become very, very important in your prelims. Match the following questions, factual questions. Consider the following type of questions do come from these. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is also known as 𝗂𝗽𝗍𝗏𝗏, 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗍, 𝗓𝗏𝗪𝗏 This is the title he received when he accompanied Kalyani Chalukya ruler in his invasions. Bedaraju II, another king who established Shivapuram city in Hanmakonda and built the famous Beteshwara temple. He gave Shivapuram to his spiritual guru Rameshwara Pandit. So he was a follower of Rameshwara Pandit. Bedaraju seems to be follower of Shaivism. During his period, Shaivism or Shiva Bhakti became very, very popular. 𝗂𝗽𝗱 inscription he only gave, and he is also called 𝗪𝗏𝗏 Tribhuvana Malla. 𝗪𝗏𝗏 Tribhuvana Malla. Rudradeva, also called Prataparudra I, gave the famous 1,000-pillar temple inscription. In fact, 1,000-pillar temple itself is one of the very famous temples of the Kakatiyas. It stands in the same class as the Ramappa temple in 1163. He declared independence and became Kakatiya's first completely independent ruler. Before him, Kakatiyas were feudal lords of Rashtrakutas and Kalyani Chalukyas. He issued the famous Ganapavaram inscription. The Draksharama inscription also, Rudradeva is mentioned as a Vinaya-bhūshana in the Draksharama inscription, and it was issued by Inangala Brahmireddy. It was issued by Inangala Brahmireddy, mentions about Rudradeva as Vinaya-bhūshana. Mahadeva, Rudradeva's brother, successor, also gave the Sundela Grama inscription, the fourth option which was there in the question in Peddapalli district, and is mainly related to his rule, the Mahadeva's time period. His guru was Dhruveshwara Pandit, who discovered with a broken inscription in Warangal Fort. In Warangal Fort, we have mentions about Dhruveshwara Pandit, the guru of Mahadeva. Consider the following statements with regards to Kakatiyas. Agriculture was the main profession during Kakatiya rule. Land revenue was collected both in cash and kind. Rudreshwara temple was constructed during the reign of Kakatiya Emperor Racharla Rudra, a general of Kakatiya Ganapati Deva. Hanumakonda inscription is related to Kakatiya king Ganapati Deva. Which of the following statements is or are correct? The question is specifically asking correct. So the answer was 1, 2 and 3. Option 1, 2 and 3. Kakatiyas, as we have already seen, they belong to largely Andhra region. They ruled in the Warangal, or old name of Warangal is Orugallu region. Most important rulers, Ganapati Deva, Rudrama Devi, Prataparudra. Last ruler, Prataparudra the second. Very important. And Kakatiyas, as I said in one of the first beginnings of this session, Kakatiyas had consistent dispute or consistent wars with the Pandyan king who was south of Kakatiyas. Regarding them, it is mentioned in the Ranganatha temple inscription in Chandana Mandapa. Hanumakonda inscription, it is described that Rudradeva I was the first independent ruler of Kakatiya. Hence, statement 4 is incorrect. Okay, in that options. Golconda Fort was also built originally by Kakatiya rulers. Later, when Qutub Shahis came, they improvised it and made it a very big fort. Initially, it was a small stone fort. Rudreshwara temple, constructed in 1213 during the reign of Racharla Rudradeva, and who was generally a Kakatiya, was a general, who was a military chief under the Kakatiya king Ganapati Deva. Hence, option 3 is Kakatiya administration was also well established, just like the Chalukyan administration and the Kalyani Chalukya administration. Kakatiyas also witnessed excellent economic progress, given that they had both internal, very fertile regions. Also, Kakatiyas focused extensively on agricultural expansion, plus they had a lot of export trade. They were known to have the diamond mines south of Golconda. They bought tracts of uncultivable land under cultivation, building large tracts and digging wells, and also mining was a major activity for the Kakatiyas. During Prataparudra's period, Prataparudra I's period, extensive amount of land was brought under cultivation, basically converting virgin soil into plowed soils. And land revenue in the Kakatiya period was always collected in both cash and kind. Cash is basically in terms of money, kind in terms of gift, or even in terms of free service or work. The statement 1/4 to 1/2 of the producer's revenue. The state always collected 1/4 to 1/2. So 25% to 50% was the land revenue tax based on the requirements or the economic situation of the day. Kakatiya has also paid very keen interest on agricultural development, as I said previously. Irrigation tanks, wells, construction of different facilities, even establishment of Agrahara villages, which is places of education, places of Brahmanical heads, was also there. And bringing wastelands under cultivation was single greatest achievement of Kakatiyas. Next question. Consider the following statements regarding Ramappa temple. The temple was constructed during the reign of Kakatiya emperors. The presiding deity is Lord Vishnu. The temple is also known as Ramappa temple after the sculptor who executed the work in the temple. Which of the following statements is or are correct? Ramappa temple has been in news recently a lot. No. Answer is C, because UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, has recently inscribed Ramappa temple as a World Heritage Site. Now, Ramappa temple has certain distinctions in its existence. Number one, it is actually Rudreshwara temple dedicated to Lord Shiva, not Lord Vishnu. It is located in Venkatapur Mandal of Telangana's Mulugu district, or Old Warangal, Telangana's Old Warangal. It was actually built by Kakatiya Emperor Kakatiya Emperor's general, Ganapati Deva's military chief, 𝗪𝗏 Rudra. The presiding deity of the temple is Ramalingeshwara Swami. The temple is actually known as Ramappa based on the sculptor who worked and executed the temple for 40 years. In fact, the uniqueness of Ramappa temple is, it is one of the only temples in the country which is actually named after the sculptor than the presiding deity or god or the king. Ramappa temple has that distinction. Next question, a very small, quick question. Sangama, Saluva, Tuluva, Arabidu. Hariharavan, Tirumala, Krishnadevaraya, 𝗓𝗏𝗪𝗓. With reference to Vijayanagara Empire, consider the following pairs. Which of the following pairs given is or are correctly matched? 3 only, 1 and 3, 1, 3, 4, 2, 3 and 4 only. If you see the answer is 1 and 3. In fact, Vijayanagara Empire, Vijayanagara dynasty actually existed from approximately 1333 to almost till 17th century. Sangama, Saluva, Tuluva, Arabidu, the 4 dynasties. Sangama, Saluva, Tuluva were the strongest. Arabidu comes after, because in Vijayanagara life there was a battle called the Battle of Tallikota, very important for your prelims, also called Battle of Rakkasathangidi. After that battle, we have the Arabidu dynasty. Sangama dynasty was one of the strongest. It was the first dynasty. It exercised control till 1485, approximately from 1333 to 1485. It was founded by Harihara Raya and Bukkaraya, the 2 brothers. They were actually governors in Kampili kingdom, but eventually, after few invasions by Muhammad bin Tughlaq and creation of sort of confusion in Deccan, they re-established a strong power in south, in Deccan, near Hampi, Sangama dynasty. The most striking feature about the location of Vijayanagara basin where they created is, it is actually in Tungabhadra Doab. We also see the presence of a canal called the Hiriya Canal. The canal which was existing in that region was very, very important because it drew water from dam across Tungabhadra and irrigated and cultivated the valley. In fact, thanks to this canal and few other canals which Vijayanagaras built, Tungabhadra Krishna Doab region eventually became the most fertile region and eventually ended up becoming the most contested as well. Bahmani Sultans and Vijayanagaras were consistently fighting for control of this territory. Second dynasty is Saluva. Saluva dynasty was created by Saluvas who by historical traditions were actually natives of the Kalyani region of northern Karnataka, where Kalyani Chalukya sort of existed. Saluva 𝗓𝗏 was the first king of the Saluva dynasty who ruled from 1486 to 1491. Hence, option 2 is actually incorrect in that options which we have given you. 𝗓𝗏 spent his reign in relatively successful campaigns. He re-established the strength of the Vijayanagaras. He also defeated many kings, even encroachments by 𝗧𝗏𝗵𝗂, king of Odisha. He was a patron saint of Madhava saint Sripadaraya, who authored 𝗓𝗏𝗵𝗔𝗬𝗏. And Saluvas encouraged even Kannada poet Kavilinga. Kannada poet Kavilinga, Saluva 𝗓𝗏. Saluvas were followed by Tuluva. In fact, the most outstanding contribution of Tuluvas is Tuluvas ended up giving the Vijayanagara kingdom their greatest king, 𝗧𝗏𝗦𝗔𝗧. During his reign, the land between Tungabhadra and Krishna were completely acquired in full by 1512. In fact, in 1511, Krishnadevaraya actually fought a battle called the Battle of Divani and defeated all the challengers, the Bahmani Sultans. There is also one more uniqueness. He also captured Udaygiri in 1514. Several defeats were inflicted on Bijapur Sultan. Krishnadevaraya has few titles. He is also called 𝗃𝗓𝗏𝗄, 𝗪𝗏𝗄𝗁, 𝗪𝗁𝗏𝗃𝗃, Kannada Rajya Rama Ramana, Sri Krishna Devaraya. That is his full name. 𝗃𝗓𝗏𝗄, 𝗪𝗏𝗄𝗁, Andhra Pitamaha, Kannada Rajya Rama Ramana, 𝗪𝗁𝗏𝗃, Sri Krishna Devaraya 1. He ruled from 1509 to 1529. There is also one more interesting fact. Always remember, very important in prelims. Krishna Devaraya's contemporary were Alfonso 𝗪𝗁𝗁𝗀, the Portuguese Governor General, on whose name Alfonso Mango is there, and also Babar in the north. Zahiruddin Muhammad Babar the Mughal. In fact, in Babar Nama, there is also a statement where Babar says his one of the regrets is not being able to have a war or an opportunity to meet Sri Krishna Devaraya of the Tuluva dynasty. In 1565, Aliya Ramaraya, the chief minister of Vijayanagara, was eventually defeated in a battle called Battle of Tallikota, also called Rakasa Tangidi, where Bijapur, Ahmednagar, Golconda together attacked Vijayanagara and destroyed Hampi. Tirumala Raya, brother of Ramaraya, eventually seized control of the empire and founded the Aravidu dynasty, moved capital to Penugonda. The Vijayanagara family eventually moved to Penugonda, Aravidu, the Aravidu family. Tirumala Raya was the founder of the Aravidu dynasty, the fourth dynasty of Vijayanagara. And he was the brother of Ramaraya. Ramaraya was the regent or prime minister of Sadashivaraya of the Tuluva dynasty. The last Tirumala Raya eventually moved the empire, as I said, to Penugonda in Andhra Pradesh. Next question. Consider the following statements regarding the temple architecture of the Vijayanagara Empire. A Kalyana Mandapa meant to celebrate divine weddings. In the Vithala temple, the principal deity was Vithala, a form of Vishnu primarily worshipped in Odisha. Which of the following statements is or are correct? Option is only one. Answer will be only one. Yes, Kalyana Mandapas were created. In fact, in temple architecture, the greatest contributors have been Cholas and Vijayanagaras. And Vijayanagara's greatest contribution or dedication to the temples is the concept called mandapas. That too, purpose-built mandapas. Kalyana Mandapa, Dhyana Mandapa, Unjal Mandapa, Dharma Mandapa, Rama Mandapa. So each of these had a purpose. Kalyana Mandapa only for marriages. Dhyana Mandapa for yoga, for meditation. Unjal Mandapa, in Tirumala temple you have Unjal Mandapa, which is only for the swinging seva, Unjal seva or the swing seva of the god. So purpose, they all had specific purpose. Vijayanagaras gave greatest contribution to temples. They introduced many new structures. For example, Raya Gopurams or the royal gateways, they had gigantically huge Gopurams. One of the classic examples of a Raya Gopuram that you observe is 𝗂𝗏𝗓𝗪 temple in Tirupati. Not the Tirumala temple, but the Tirupati near the Tirupati station on the Gandhi road of today. You actually see a huge gigantic Gopuram, unique and Raya Gopuram. Other distinctive features are pavilions of long pillared corridors, series of long corridors. This Tirupati's Govindaraja temple also has long corridor kind of entrance into the temple. The Virupaksha temple, best example of the Vijayanagara style, where the hall in front of the main structure was actually built by Sri Krishnadeva himself to mark his accession to power, to support his coming to power. He is also credited with the construction of the Eastern Gopuram and delicately carved pillars with a mythical horse. There is this mythical horse or a horse standing with raising its legs up, which is present in all the temples of the Vijayanagaras. It was here we see the first time concept of Kalyana Mandapas, which was specifically meant only for divine weddings, the Sita Rama Kalyanam or Narayana Kalyanam and all that Kalyana Seva. Spaces in the temples were specifically dedicated for only specific purposes. They were even those for music, drama, dance, etc. Last question, consider the following statements regarding the king. Vijayanagara Sri Krishnadeva, he acquired the title 𝗪𝗏𝗃. He was the author of Manucharitam. He restored the Bahmani Sultanate to Muhammad Shah, which was taken over by independent kingdoms of the Deccan Sultanate. Which of the following statements is or are correct? The answer will be only one, which is option B. He acquired the title 𝗪𝗏𝗃. Vijayanagara king Sri Krishnadeva, I just told some time ago, he's also called Abhinava Bhoja, Andhra Bhoja, Andhra Pitamaha, all his titles, given that his contribution is huge to literature and architecture. He restored the power of Vijayanagaras by defeating all the Muhammad Shah's Bahmani Sultanate across the Deccan, and that's why sometimes he's also called 𝗪𝗏 𝗪𝗏. He took the title 𝗪𝗏 𝗪𝗏. His court used to have literary experts called 𝗪𝗏, the 8 scholars. In fact, they are the greatest contributors of Telugu literature, modern Telugu poets, medieval and modern Telugu poets. The age of 𝗪𝗏 is generally known as Prabandha period or Prabandha age, 1540 to 1600. Most important of the 𝗪𝗏s are Allasani Peddana, Nandi Timmana, Madaya Gari Mallana, Dūrjati, Ayyalaraju Ramabhadrudu, Pingali Surana, Ramabhushanudu, and Tenali Ramakrishna. Among these, Tenali Ramakrishna remains the most popular for his witty stories and for his witty compilations. Krishnadeva himself was also a writer. 𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗪 is actually a poem in Telugu composed by Krishnadeva himself. It literally means a garland of pearls. He also was very popular for his writings, and 𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗪 basically describes about the wedding of Hindu Lord Vishnu and Andal, the Tamil Alvar poet and daughter of Periyalvar of Srirangam. Alasani Peddana, one of the 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧, in fact, prominent 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 is also called Andhra Kavita Pitamaha during Krishna-Devaraya's period. Okay. Another important ruler in the Vijayanagara dynasty was Devaraya II, and he was called 𝗪𝗏𝗍. His title was Gajabhetakara, the slayer of elephants. Okay, and Allasani Peddana is the author of Manucharitam. He was also known as Andhra Kavita Pitamaha. These books, these 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧s are very, very important in your prelims. Military commanders who were given the territories to govern Vijayanagara were called Rayas, Amirs, Amaranayakas, none of the above. This is a straightforward factual question, guys. There is nothing to get confused here. In the Vijayanagara period, the military commanders were almost autonomous, and hence they were also called Amaranayakas. Okay, the correct answer is Amaranayakas. So that's it in this session, guys. We've seen questions about Vijayanagara and Kakatiya, and I've discussed all the kings, different literatures of Vijayanagara. I'll see you in the next session. Thank you. You have a nice day. Bye.